We'll start the session now. There is a presentation on Export Promotion Mission and Trade Connect by Shri Vishwajit Chimankar, ITS Deputy DGFT. As an introduction, Shri Vishwajit ji is a distinguished bureaucrat from Indian Trade Service 2019 batch, who currently serves as a Deputy Director General of Foreign Trade in Mumbai, functioning under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. He plays crucial role in shaping regional trade operations, formulating foreign trade policies, and spearheading key export promotion schemes. Sir is a key driver of trade felicitation. Shri Chimankar has been instrumental in executing marquee international trade pacts out of India's commercial capital, including the operational rollout and historic flagging of exports under the India-UK Free Trade Agreement. With a strong focus on navigating global geopolitical shifts and empowering Indian exporters, he continues to lead vital awareness and skill development initiatives across major industry forums. Exim Bank and of course the collecting group has more than happy to welcome Sir for an inaugural presentation on the EPM as well as DGFT's view on various trade promotions. Requesting Sir to please take the dais.
Yeah, good afternoon everyone. Thanks for the introduction. So today I have been asked specifically to take a session on export promotion mission and Trade Connect portal which we have in place. So as you all might be aware that the export promotion mission was launched with a mandate of having two schemes, two integrated sum schemes, that is Niryat Disha and Niryat Protsahan. It was thought of that the times which the trade is now facing were kind of very unstable. Many things were happening. The tariff was what we have heard of, the imposition of tariffs by USA. At the same time, the recent Hormuz issue. And it was thought of that we need some measures to be taken into place. Yeah, next slide please. So, taking that into perspective, this export promotion mission was launched. So one of the major aim was to empower the MSMEs for the global markets. So as it can be seen, it is more of MSME focused scheme implemented, as I have told, through two integrated sum schemes. So one is Niryat Disha and one is Niryat Protsahan. So under the Niryat Protsahan, financial help which can be given to the MSMEs, to the exporters, is being thought of. And under Niryat Disha, it's seen as a kind of long-term measures that are needed to empower our MSME exporters to deal with the changing world. So I believe this is kind of a good recipe for tackling the times now which are also called as the world which we are dealing as VUCAT world, which is full form is something like volatile, uncertain, ambiguous. So in such situations, such a scheme was much needed, and it has an outlay of around 25,000 crores over the 5 years. So the main objectives is to have better access to trade finance, especially for the MSMEs, then for assistance in meeting international quality, technical and sustainability standards, export branding, logistics and warehousing support, market access and trade intelligence support, and broader participation of MSMEs and increased cross-border e-commerce exports. So if you see the objectives which are taken into account, these are being kind of layered and taken into different schemes in such a way that all the issues being faced by any exporters are tackled properly. Next slide please. So first one is Niryat Disha, that is expanding the holistic market access. So both have a component of five schemes. The sixth one has also come recently, which we'll be discussing. So the major ones are the market access support, trade regulation, accreditation and compliance enablement, that is TRACE. Then flow, that is facilitating logistics overseas warehousing and fulfillment scheme. Then logistics intervention for freight and transport. Then integrated support for trade intelligence and facilitation insight. So we'll be discussing each one of them. Then the another limb, that is the Niryat Protsahan, that is driving the trade finance access. So it was taken into account again that MSMEs are in dire need of capital, and it is of utmost importance that this capital requirement being faced by the MSMEs are taken into account and help them get this capital. So again, considering that a good amount of help was needed here, this scheme was launched. So we have 5 integrated schemes under this. Interest subvention support for pre and post shipment export credit. Second is support for alternative trade instruments. Then credit guarantee for e-commerce exporters. Then collateral support for export credit and support for emerging export opportunities. We'll be discussing them. So this is kind of a timeline or a kind of the series of the issues which a exporter may face from start to end. So we have kind of marked them for each of the steps. So if you can see first one, it's about market and product analysis. So first step for any exporter, for any manufacturer is that, okay, I want to export now, but then what I should be exporting or which market I should export to. So here comes the role of getting that trade intelligence. Secondly, you should have the know-how of the local areas. So here you also need to go to the local areas, get more information about them. So the market access support scheme and the insight scheme, which is integrated support for trade intelligence and facilitation, comes in here. So one scheme, that is market access support scheme, thinks of enabling the exporter of going to the local markets in various parts of the globe, getting the local know-how, getting knowledge of what might be needed there, how they can adapt to the local situations there. And second is about giving intelligence, which is of much more importance in today's world, where it is commonly said that the data is the new oil. You need to have that data, you need to have that intelligence that yes, my product may run here. So these two schemes try to address the issues being faced at that stage. Then second is, ठीक है, अभी orders भी आ गया है, उसका क्या, उसके आगे क्या है, तो you also need pre-shipment export financing, that is also being taken into consideration. So we have interest subvention for pre-shipment credit, then collateral support for export credit, then credit guarantee for e-commerce exporters, and support for emerging export opportunities. So these schemes try to tackle the issue being faced at this point of time. Then another issue which may come in place is trade compliance. Okay, now you are exporting, there are certain certifications which are required in the market to which you are exporting. So you need to have knowledge about that certification. Then again, when it comes to compliance of certification, there is a cost involved or attached to it. So there comes the trade scheme, that is trade regulation, accreditation and compliance enablement. So it tries to offset the charges, the expenditure which an exporter might have to pay for various certifications. Then after them, the next thing which one exporter has to deal with is EXIM logistics. So for that, two schemes are there, LIFT and FLOW. So LIFT is logistics intervention for freight and transport, and then FLOW, which is facilitating logistics, overseas warehousing and fulfillment. We'll be discussing them in details, but I am just giving you an idea that how across the timeline or across the board, the issues are being faced, are being tried to be tackled through this specific mission. And then once shipment has been done, you need post-shipment export financing. So for that, we had support for alternative trade instrument, then interest subvention for post-shipment credit, and support for emerging export opportunities. So many of you might have heard of factoring. So trials or many trials have been done by various companies or firms for this factoring. Many are not aware of it, but then to give a push to such instruments which are kind of non-conventional or which have not intruded deeply in the Indian market are also being pushed by this export promotion mission. So how can it be a game changer for MSMEs is a big question which we try to address here. So it has whole of government convergence. So unified whole of government approach is there with all the relevant ministries at core stakeholders. For certain schemes, we have certain committees being formed where we have representation from all the ministries. At the same time, there is trade finance enablement. If you ask any MSME what is the biggest issue being faced by them, or what is the biggest help anyone can give them, it's about having capital. That unblocking of capital is very important for them, and that is being tried here. So directly it addresses the access to finance constraints faced by the exporters. Then integrated export growth, as I have shown you across the board, you have many issues being faced by the MSMEs that are being tried to be addressed in all possible ways. Then market readiness support is also being given. So the market access support scheme, then the flow scheme, the trade scheme, all are trying to kind of help these issues, and that market linkages is also being done. So first is market access support. So what we are doing, a kind of support is being given for market access activities, such as to have the buyer-seller meet or trade fairs or trade delegations. So a support of 5 crore per event is being given, and for reverse buyer-seller meet up to 10 crore per event is being given. So what it will help you, it will help in developing and expanding, sustaining international markets, allowing for market diversification and international visibility. As I've told you, first step might be, okay, I want to know certain market. You have interest in certain market, but you need to know the local realities. So this scheme can help you in that way. Then airfare support for MSMEs for buyer-seller meet or trade fair or trade delegation is also there. And then preferential support for priority sector is there. So a priority sector has been identified. If you can go to the guidelines available on the DGFT website, you will get more idea about it. Second is trade scheme, that is trade regulation, accreditation and compliance enablement. So as I've told you earlier, there are many of the compliances which are needed to be fulfilled by any exporters in any country to which they are exporting. So fulfilling that compliance requires certain certification, certain mandatory standards, and such compliance work also involves a cost involved. So that was understood and taken very well, that yes, there are some costs attached and we need to offset that cost. So taking that into consideration, this scheme was brought. So it provides financial support to exporter to meet international testing, inspection, certificate and other conformity requirements. So we have a support of around with a cap of 50 lakh rupees or 95% of the actual cost net of taxes for the micro and small enterprises, whichever is lower among them. For the medium enterprises, 80% of the actual cost net of taxes or rupees 50 lakhs, whichever is lower, and the annual cap is rupees 50 lakh per exporters. So the eligibility is MSME exporter with a valid IEC and valid MSME Udyam registration number. You have the support for notified eligible list of certification that has been expanded to 466 entries. We are getting continuous request even during the recent meeting which we had from Chemixil. Amrita ji also told us that certain entries are missing. We need to include that. So I would again request Chemixil to give us that list, or the ones you want to include into the trade scheme. We can include them also, and also the exporters, those who have come here. I would request you also to go through the list. The list is available on the website, of course, and see if some entries are missing. You want some of them to be included in this list. We can think of it. You can give your representation to Chemixil and they can forward to us. So we can work hand in hand so as to have them into this list and help the exporters. And then the number of we have written the implementation status. It has started recently only. Then the flow scheme, which is facilitating logistics, overseas warehousing and fulfillment. So to mitigate the logistics and warehousing constraints for Indian exporters and to have enablement of access to overseas storage, distribution, fulfillment centers. So we have a support up to a maximum period of 3 years. So it has overseas warehousing facility, then lower of rupees 10 crore, 30% of the project cost, then overseas fulfillment arrangements, lower of rupees 5 lakh per month or 30% of the project cost, and display or market access facilities, including lower of rupees 5 crore or 30% of the project cost, and e-commerce export hub, which will be lower of rupees 10 crore or 30% of the project cost. So this is the support that we will be giving under this scheme. And the eligible entities are export promotion councils, commodity boards, logistics, warehousing and fulfillment service provider, industry associations and organizations recommended by central and state government. So many of the exporters here might be having some industry associations. So you are requested, if you can go through this scheme and think of taking the benefit under this scheme. The logistics intervention for freight and transport lift scheme. So this is being provided specifically for the hinterland exporters. I don't believe we have any of the districts under Maharashtra, but then those who are having in the northeast, facilities in the northeast, they can go through this scheme for better understanding. So basically it has a partial reimbursement of freight cost. for the exports that are being done, it's up to 30% of the actual cost incurred for availing eligible transport services. And it also has a cap of rupees 20 lakhs per exporter per financial year. So this is Insight, that is integrated support for trade intelligence and facilitation. So as I've told you, data is the new oil, and you need a lot of data and intelligence to have access to new markets, understand more about the new markets, and again, seeing that it has such a huge potential, this specific scheme was bought. So all beneficiaries are all the exporters, transport and logistics service provider, all other stakeholders engaged in export ecosystem. So what support will be given is modules and toolkits. So up to 50% of the cost incurred, that is with a cap 15 lakh for the modules and toolkits. Then training and capacity building will be done 50% or the maximum of rupees 25 lakh. Then for district and cluster facilitation, 50% with a maximum cap of 50 lakh. Then research, innovation and pilot projects, if it has to be done, there we have a component. And again, trade intelligence and analytics. Next is GLOBE, that is Global Outreach for Branding, Labeling and Export Packaging. It is to be launched, but I thought that this should be included. So as I've told you, there were total five components in each of the sub-scheme, but this is the add-on, the sixth one. So it's for branding, labeling and export packaging. It is to be launched, but you can go through it. So it's basically to strengthen the brand India. It was understood that various countries across the globe have their own identity based on brand or belonging to this or that country. For example, you might have heard of Swiss-made knife or Swiss-made watches. So why can't we have a kind of brand India being built, and taking that into consideration, this scheme was thought of. So it has a support again up to a period of maximum 3 years. So Unified Brand India Global Framework up to rupees 100% or 200 crores for multi-year central campaigns executed by government agencies, and sector branding will also be there. Yeah. So this is interest subvention support and for pre and post shipment export credits. So under this scheme, the capital which is being blocked, or the interest which one has to pay for the loan taken on the shipment will have some amount of interest subvention, so as to improve the competitiveness and working capital liquidity. So the support provided subvention rate is 2.75% subvention on the interest cost, and the subvention limit is rupees 50 lakh per exporter. Then collateral support for export credit. Again, when you want to take some export credit, you need to give some collateral. But then to have this collateral free access to farmer credit, this scheme was being brought. So it is implemented by CGT MSE. And the support provided for micro and small enterprises, 85% of the guarantee is being covered. For the medium enterprises, 65% of guarantee is covered. And the maximum limit is rupees 10 crore per exporter. So support for alternative trade instrument, export factoring. So it was understood that the factoring has not intruded that much deep in the Indian market, or many are not aware of this export factoring. And they should take benefit of this export factoring, as it kind of unblocks a huge capital for them. This scheme was brought taking that into consideration. So it is to promote export factoring as an affordable and accessible instrument for MSFEs, and to unblock their working capital and smoother business cycle. So eligibility is for MSME exporter, merchandise exports under the notified list of 6-digit tariff lines, and the institutions are the registered export factoring firms, NBFCs. So tariff lines total 4185 have been identified. So maximum support, the subvention rate is 2.75% subvention on the interest cost for export factoring, and the subvention limit is again rupees 50 lakh per IEC. So the type of factoring which we have is both recourse and non-recourse, and currency factoring in rupee and freely convertible foreign currency is supported. For those, I believe many of you are aware of factoring. So for those who are not that much aware about factoring, it's, for instance, you have exported some material to a foreign buyer, then you have invoices with you. Then on the basis of that invoices, you can go to a financial company or a bank and give that invoices, and against that, the bank will give up to some limit the capital to you, and they charge interest on it. So that this interest you will get some interest rate subventions through this scheme. So I would request you all to also go through the factoring thing, and you can get more information about factoring on the Trade Connect portal. I'll be taking one presentation for that also, so you will be able to learn more about it. Then credit guarantee for e-commerce exporters. So again, e-commerce is something new which many of our exporters are thinking of, or many have started now. So it has a very huge potential. So in a study recently which I was reading, if you see about China, it has more than $300 billion of export through e-commerce, while for India it is more than $8 billion. So we have a huge potential present there, and to kind of promote them and give a good push to e-commerce export, this scheme was brought in. So it is for credit facility for working capital needs of e-commerce exporters at lower cost for export through poster, courier or overseas inventory and fulfillment channels. So again, the eligibility here is MSME e-commerce exporter with a valid IEC and valid MSME Udyam registration. New MSME exporters with prior domestic e-commerce turnover of at least 1 year. Implementing agency is Exim Bank and NCGTC. So the maximum support which will be given here is up to 90% of guarantee cover, capped at rupees 50 lakh. And then overseas inventory e-commerce credit facility up to 75% of guarantee cover, capped at rupees 5 crore is there. And then interest subvention of 2.75% on eligible financing, capped at rupees 15 lakh per applicant per year. Then support for emerging export opportunities. It was studied that there are many markets which has good potential, but the exporters are reluctant to enter that markets. So it was thought of that some kind of support should be given. So this scheme, that is support for emerging export opportunities, what was brought in through the EPM. So what it does, the objective is to enable Indian MSMEs to expand into new or higher risk markets through access to shared risk and credit instruments. So eligibility here is MSME exporter with a valid IEC and a valid MSME Udyam registration number. Support shall be available for identified underserved market, currently 72 countries. Again, for the guidelines, you can go on the website and go through the 72 countries. So there will be risk sharing support about 10 to 80% of transaction value based on a risk model. Implementing agencies Exim Bank and NCGTC. So here we are showcasing what will be the procedure for application. So you have to file the intent to claim, that is IC, which is to be filed for obtaining UIN, that is unique identification number, which will be generated on the DGFT website. So exporter shares this UIN with the lending institution or the factors, and then claim submission will be done. Then for Niryat Disha, we have lift and trace scheme. For that, again, you have to file intent claim on the DGFT, on the trade.gov.in before obtaining Exim related services. Then reimbursement claim has to be filed. And for market access support, you again have to apply on trade.gov.in. This is the said Trade Connect portal, which I will be talking in the next slides. And the proposals are forwarded to the EPM division, which will be evaluated basis on the inputs from all concerned committees, and proposals are forwarded to subcommittee for recommendation, and then to the empowered committee for final approval. Similarly, for flow, you have to apply on trade.gov.in, then proposals are forwarded to EPM division, that is Export Promotion Mission division, which will be evaluated on the basis of inputs from all concerned committees. You have proposals are then forwarded to subcommittee for recommendation, and then to steering committee for final approval. For insight, it's a Google form is being provided. So proposals then are forwarded to EPM division, which will evaluate basis inputs from the concerned committees, again to subcommittee for recommendation, and then steering committee for final approval. Okay, these are expectations from stakeholders. Thank you. Next slide, please. The next PPT for the Trade Connect portal. Yeah, so based on the inputs that were received from various stakeholders, across the board from the EPCs or from the industry association, from the exporters, it was felt that yes, a lot has been done, but we also need a proper separate platform that supports the various initiatives by the government and also helps the exporters to gain new knowledge and new insights into various markets. So a kind of gap was felt about, and that was being tried to fill through this Trade Connect E platform. So it's basically a unified digital interface. So it brings together the exporter, the global buyers, the Indian mission, EPCs and government officials, and streamlines the international trade engagement on a single platform. So those who are applying for certificate of origin, they also have to go on Trade Connect portal only to get their certificate of origin. So what are the key features? We'll go through it. One-stop solution with real-time trade information. Then it connects exporter with the Indian mission, DOC, EPC, banks and trade experts, and it's designed for MSME and large exporters alike. So all are taken into consideration. So we had a good impact wherein 6+ lakh IEC holders are being connected, and 180 Indian mission officials are connected, and 600+ EPC officials are being connected here. So this is a small slide about how to register on the portal. So Commodity Explorer, commodity-wise trade data and market intelligence. So again, it was thought of that, yes, there might be a manufacturer who might be thinking of exporting, who might have some ideas, but then again, when it comes to export, you need to know a lot of things. You need to explore a lot of things, and that was taken into consideration, and this commodity-wise trade data and market intelligence tab was developed. So you can search by HS code or product name, then you can get the export and import trends also. So it's real-time and historical data is being available, and then top destination countries are also being available there. Identify the leading buyer countries for a selected product and spot emerging market opportunities, and price and value intelligence. So benchmark the pricing and evaluate competitiveness using trade value data across the global market. So a lot of data is being available here. So single window for certificate of origin. So the certificate of origin through this Trade Connect portal was made wholly digital, and some new provisions were added, such as you can amend it now, then you can e-sign using your Aadhaar also. So this has already come into operationalization, and many are using it also. Then yeah, this is a good thing, this Explore Free Trade Agreement and Tariffs. So recently on the 15th of July, the India-UK CETA was operationalized. It came into place, and many FTAs we have already signed. But many times people are exporting, but they don't know that they can get certain tariff reduction or elimination of tariff when they are exporting to a country with which we have a free trade agreement. So it was understood that might be awareness, or might be there is some lag of data availability with the exporter, that they are not able to get the things properly. So this Tariff Explorer was brought specifically to help the exporters. So what happens, you can simply search for your HS code. The tab is also given there for searching your HS code. Enter your HS code, and then you can search for various countries with which we have FTA, that what will be the custom tariff rates that will be applicable to us. So this can help you understand, first of all, that where you will be more competitive. Secondly, this can help you understand that yes, you can get this certificate of origin, and then you will have to, the buyer situated abroad can buy things from you at a lower cost. So this Explorer was brought with that thing into consideration. This I would request you all the exporters to explore and get more idea about. Then trade event worldwide are also being showcased. So see, today it's also more important that you get exposure to various events happening outside, because once you go out, you get exposure to various new ideas, to what are the recent trend happening, and what are the new demand from the customers situated abroad. For that, you also need to be aware of about the trade events that are happening abroad. So on this tab, you will get to know about the trade events that are happening worldwide. Now you can imagine this being attached with the market access support scheme brought under the EPM, that is Export Promotion Mission, and this can help you access new markets. So again, access product guide. So it's a kind of go-to resource for global trade insights, that you want to have insights for certain products. You have this product guide. So it covers 200 plus export certifications also, that what certifications are needed for what product abroad. Then we have a special tab wherein source from India is being introduced. So what happens, many times there are buyers situated abroad who might want to diversify their supply chain, who might want to diversify their vendors, and who might be thinking of, as we have heard of China plus one, so who will be that plus one? They might be thinking of sourcing from India. So what it was thought of, that if we are able to showcase our exporters on this tab of source from India, which is a Government of India website, then it improves the credibility of export of our country. So those having a benchmark of, I believe, $1 million of trade exports in the earlier years are being showcased here. Those of you who want to be have their profile shown on the source from India can link it through your IC. You will have to log in through IC and make a request online. Your profile will also be shown here on the source from India tab, so that someone situated abroad wants to procure from India, he can go through it and get idea about you. So this specific thing was also being introduced. So it's like a personalized micro page available for the status holder. Now it has been increased for, I'll have to check, I'll confirm it with the Chemixil. It's around $1 million US dollar. So you can showcase your products or export achievements and company credentials. So it increases your credibility. So again, one tab is there for export country insights. So you can get insights into access in-depth country profiles with data on tariff, regulation and export opportunities. Then you can also get export advice on the exports. Then you can also find buyers and then showcase your products globally. Discover online marketplaces where you can promote and sell your products to global buyers. And learn in Exim Pathshala. So when I was talking about factoring thing, you have many different things here, such as the trade finance basics. So you will have factoring being covered there. Then launch your export business, a step-by-step guide. Then e-commerce for your B2B business. So e-commerce in B2B business is also increasing. So how you can utilize then export sales and negotiation. So there are various courses available on this Exim Pathshala. If not the owners, but then even your staff who is looking specifically into the foreign trade wala thing or the Exim thing, they can go through this Pathshala, have 1 or 2 courses being done each week. They will improve their knowledge capacity, and who knows, that will help you in future in some way or the other. So this is about Trade Connect portal. So what we have tried to is through EPM, we have also tried to see what can be done in the short term and what can help in the long term. And through Trade Connect portal, it is thought of that how we can build the capacity of our exporters or those engaged in the export things. And this is how we are right now thinking of bridging the gap that existed for the exporters to gain more knowledge and get more insights about the huge opportunities available in the trade domain. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll request Trupti ma'am, our General Manager, to please felicitate sir with a bouquet of pot. Thank you, sir. It was a very insightful session on various scheme of EPM. As you are aware, EPM Exim Bank is one of the exclusive agencies who is running the EPM scheme for the Government of India. We look forward to more participation in collaboration with DGFT in sending the information regarding EPM, making it more popular among exporters so that they can avail this benefit as well as the opportunity that government is providing.